Hey, this is Elliot with Sage. I want to go ahead and just do a quick market update. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. So today, the market looks like it was supported, and we saw some bounces across different sectors, especially in the semiconductor. My weekend video showed NVIDIA was in a buy area, and it really exploded out of that area. That's why I was warning not to be too bearish on this market because it was already oversold, and a lot of stochastics have already reset in this correction. As you could see, NVIDIA, tagged our buy area and essentially V'd out of that area. Now, if we look at where NVIDIA's bigger count is, I do want to be more careful though, because what we know from a cycle perspective, we've corrected this entire cycle all the way from the October lows. This seems too short, and we also didn't break the trend line. So we either in a 1-2-1-2 for NVIDIA on the grand super cycle scale, or we are actually, this was a 3, a 4, and we'll 5, and then we'll get a massive correction. So it's tough to say. It seems it's too shallow. We didn't break the trend line. So more than likely, this bounce will fail, and then you'll get a much more viable entry here. So this bounce may fail at some point, and we head lower into these lower targets here where I have highlighted, and this could complete a head and shoulders pattern here where we're completing the right shoulder. So I do think we're getting a bounce across the market, but again, I can't tell you if this bounce will go to new highs or not. I think the most likely scenario is it fails and we get a three-wave correction. If it goes to new highs, then it would be more treacherous to enter any new positions. So I do think the setup could be 1-2, 1-2 out, or like I said, it's in 3 right now, and we get a 4, and then finish the whole entire cycle here, and 5 later. So it's tough to say at this point. We'll wait and see. Of course, the wave 1 peak is at 349. If we can overlap that, then that could negate this 4 wave and make it a 1-2, 1-2 setup. If the way you traded this again was you bought this area, it bounced, so now your stop loss is at 401, and so essentially you're playing with house's money. I would let the market stop you out, and I would just stay long it and see if you get this dip or not. I don't think, at this point, I think we will dip like I have here, but it's not enough data to know for sure. But this was definitely a great opportunity. All right, so let's go back to the indices real quick. So what do I expect the indices to do right now? So a lot of confusion across the market on what the count is. If you're into Elliott waves right now, you can look at this as 5 waves down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for an A, and a bounce in B, and a final C later. That's one way to do it. The other problem is with the RSI. As you can see the peak here, and that's the peak. So some people actually have the label here, which is what I originally had, but we're seeing too much strength. So I don't think this is the right count, and I think this would be a better count for what I have here. Now the other alternative is that it's actually finished in a flat correction, and here in an A, B, C. And so there's too many possibilities to kind of try to forecast trade in the indices here, but I do think something like that could be very likely. And of course, if we take the peak out, that would negate it. So what's the overall picture? I did update this chart. What I'm looking at is a 3-wave move down in an A here, and now we're in another 3-wave move up. We have a W, an X, and a Y, and now we need an A and a B. So we're in this B. Now, could be B finished? Absolutely, it could be done. But I think there's a chance it may not be. So we'll need more price data. But I would, again, some individual stocks like NVIDIA, Microsoft, some others show a good setup. And then we should get this C to play out. And then at that point, the market should be ready for a much bigger decline. And it's yet to be seen if this decline will make a new low. a new bear market low, or it will just pull back to the trend line at 411 before going higher again. So it's really treacherous. And so you just have to do the trade what setups presented. And really, the indices are not a good setup here. This isn't a good setup. The Dow Jones, I believe, is in this fifth wave. I'm still looking for this dip down. If we don't get that, then it's obviously some other account. But I would just say that I would just leave that here for now. But I like to see that pullback here. If we don't get it, then I think what I would probably call is some kind of, again, WXY, something like that later. And then we get the fifth wave out later. So, and the triple Qs are, I already mentioned, we're in a buy area. On my last video on the weekend, we came out 1%. I think we can get more follow through in X, and then like if we get this third leg down in Nvidia and some of the other tech stocks, we could be set. But there is a chance this B is done. We may not get that leg down. That's why I recommended buying some things that were in good setups, and then that should push us higher for the final leg higher before we get to this target area that I have up here. And again, in a three-wave move and an A, B, C move. And again, nobody can believe that we could go higher, but I do think we can go higher here like this. And I do think a lot of people want this to be the crash, but I don't think that will happen. But so much selling energy was wasted. So many stochastics have reset that so much firepower was absorbed by buy-in. I just don't think there's enough selling left to push it down, and it will reset a cycle, and then we'll try again later. The IWM I mentioned needs to stay above this trend line, and as you can see, it fought, and it looks like it closed right on it. Again, looking for this kind of three-wave bounce, but we may not get that, and we may get B done here, and we get that final push in C off of this area for the Russell, something like this before we get the downturn. So the question is, if you look at this, I'm like, why do I want to buy now? I'll just wait and buy it later when the market, essentially crashes down here in this final leg. The thing about it is you may not get this downturn. This could continue to extend higher. It could come back down and then come up and then crash. There's so many possibilities. And then I also, mentioned there is what I call the moon boy scenario, where it's a straight blow off top correction in 1, 2, 1, 2, and we come up and we blow off top, and then we correct the whole super cycle, grand super cycle later in the decade here at this time period, the 27, 28, and this fools everyone with an unorthodox bottom in a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup out in 3 of 3. So we have to watch that. It's a rare possibility, but it's still possible that the market was so bullish that it truncated this and gave us an unorthodox bottom here, which and then this leg will not happen while people will be hoping. So that's why you should just buy things that show good buys and then stop out. Let the market stop you out if it doesn't work out. So that's kind of my take on the market right now. So we should be seeing a bounce, but there is still a chance it could actually be the low. All right, so there was some news on China. I saw about them trying to buy stocks and things like that. It seemed the market didn't really respond to that. I would be careful. This could be a sign. So if we break this low at 18.30 here, it could really push and really open up the waterfall sell-off in China. So it really needs to find some support here to extend the connector wave another 3 legs. So if we can extend the connector wave, it could continue. The market could continue higher. So it's at a very important inflection point, but the market has not decided that yet. So I would be careful being too bearish in China here, because you could still get more sideways action. But if we can break it, we would see the waterfall sell-off, and that would be a dollar spike. So the dollar index is key to the market, and I said there were a couple scenarios. One was a triangle, or we just start ripping higher. We ripped higher today. The market struggled, But as you can see, it looks like we still need more upside here. We, as you can see, we erased the momentum divergence. So this, theoretically, you could say truncate it. Could that be done here? Done W for a bigger rally and sideways action in the dollar? I don't think so. I think if anything, the C leg will continue to extend a little bit more, a little higher, and that should pressure the market. But like it's not a straight line, so I do think that this should impulse up in some manner. So we should probably get a pullback, and then we should get something like that. That's what I'm looking for, and that would tell me that's why I think the market could still make a one more low, swing low, before we get to a stable price, to stable point where the price can rally here. The dollar index is definitely showing a lot of mixed messages, but I would say right now, with that break higher and with that momentum, peak there, and we haven't really took that peak out, so we still need more momentum to build. So I do think this is probably the possible path for the dollar. And then when we're in this area, the market could have a bottom. So I think with the market, you do got to be careful that you don't fall into the trap of trying to go long too early. So again, let's go back to the Nasdaq. Again, we could get this little rally here, this bounce, but I think this could fail. This leg can develop, and then that's the dollar hitting that point. So you just got to be careful. If we don't get this Y leg, that means the dollar has peaked more than likely and is going to start a bigger decline, and that means more than likely that W is here and it truncated, fooling everybody in the market. So very interesting. So overall, the market, I don't like trading the indices at the moment. Gold, just again trying to hold this pivot at 1892. If it can't hold it, it will open up the downside to 1800. This would be very good. This would be a lot of dollar strength, and if this were to happen, there's a lot of distance here, so this may not happen. This could still be a different count in like a 1-2, 1-2. So we'll see. And then silver, trying to hold this pivot. If that pivot breaks, the next target's 2133, but more than likely it will go lower than that. Because typically market will correct down to the wave 4 low at 20, and we could even see $19. And that would match the distance gold has to fall. But so far the pivot is holding. It's yet to be seen if that will continue or not. But we'll see. But if it doesn't, then there'll be more opportunity to buy it later. And then just looking at the 2-year, it did break this high, set up a sequence. It means it should extend higher. If we take out 512, then you have to say that on the next leg, higher in interest rates has started and this 2 is set, which would open us up for a much bigger increase. This would put a lot of pressure on technology market and the indices. So it's not likely to see that. That's why I'm still looking for this pullback in rates. Maybe Jackson Hole, that speech coming up, will be able to bring some more, take some pressure off the interest rates. But if we can't do that, then this can also change the forecast for the indices very quickly. So we need to really keep an eye on that 2-year. And the VIX, I think hit the trend line and it rejected here. You saw that wave, and now we're pulling back just like you had here. So this looks like why we would rally a little more. We would come back and fill that gap at 1397. All right, we'll just quickly go around the market and see how things are going. Commodity-wise, if we look, energy kind of got hit today, but not that hard. Nothing that concerns me. Nothing at all. Keep an eye on Bore Energy at 794. If it can get there, that would be a possible setup. We'll see if that can get there. May not. It may truncate. Looking at some of the other ones, just kind of like, not uninterested in price action in the commodities today. Cleveland Cliffs, I think, was the big one though, with United Steel, the takeover bid here, and we had that. And Elliott Waves looks like we all had that forecasted here pretty nicely, right? We didn't know they were going to get a buyout, but look, it looks like our chart looked out perfectly, and we still have more upside to come. So that's interesting how that works. So that's good. But we should see momentum divergence. Let's take a look if we've got that. And if we've erased momentum divergence, and we have, now it's a 1-2-1-2 setup. So if this ticker can stay supported, now you have a 1-2-1-2 setup out, something like that. All right, so just keeping an eye on the cyclicals. Nothing really of interest to me. They tried to dump uranium today, and it just couldn't push it down. And hoping to get that breakout in uranium. The discretionaries, Crocs is getting close to the buy area. I know buy area is at 94. Well, we're very close to that. Nothing else really to say. I think Target must have some earnings coming out soon. It's been beat up pretty bad. Looks like it could have some more downside unless it forms some kind of connector. Hard to say. It seems incomplete. Well, let's take a look. That's probably done like that. And then this 3 is here. Something like that. So yeah, it looks like it still needs a little bit more downside. We'll see if what happens on earnings on that earning report. Consumer staples. Celsius is at 183. It's ripping. Again, I gave you guys the buy here at 84, another buy at 135, and now we're finishing this wave 5 off. If we can take out the momentum divergence, we'll have another 1-2-1-2, and it extends, which is why shorting, trying to find the top tick of a market's dangerous, because you could be shorting a wave 3 of 3 breakout. So just keep that in mind. Let's take a look at what we have here. Again, nothing of interest. Let's see if there was any big sell-offs today. Nothing to worry about. Let's go to technology to wrap this up real quick. So technology today, NVIDIA, big story, gave the buy area. Now we're in a connector wave of X of some kind that I think will fail. This is my guess. AMD is causing a lot of confusion with traders, and there was some back and forth on my Twitter on what this could be. I do think it's, you could label it something like this and call that finished. If you don't do that, then what this is some kind of connector wave that we're in, and then we'll fail later, something like this. So it's a real complicated structure. But this is the ideal buy area, so this would be very unusual here, but technically possible. Wolf did well. It's bouncing in our area. Hopefully we can get out of this soon. And like I said, most tech stocks, we're doing okay, hanging in there. I want to see a little bit more from Microsoft down to this buy area. I want to see more from Apple. It looks like it's got 5 waves down again. This more than likely will bounce and fail. Microsoft, I think, makes another high and then fails. Tesla is another one that has a good buy coming up at 228. If we can get that down here, 222 in that area. Facebook looks like it pulled back in 3. This should be bouncing and failing and should touch at 289 at some point. A lot of talk with Google. Google looks like it's in this 4, should get 5 and pull back. Just giving you guys some ideas here. And Wayfair is very bullish. Buy area, V bottomed out. Could take another dip down again to the 67, 64 area. But now it's out of this massive consolidation. It's trying to backtest this breakout. As you can see, you have a massive double bottom, and then you have a back out that's testing it. If we can get that done, it could have some really good vertical price action, and there's really no resistance to speak of until you get to 239. I don't know why this is so bullish. This stock seems to have the best price action out of a lot of them that I have, but for some reason it's very bullish. It reacts really nicely, and if you've been following me, we got in on Wayfair down here at 31. So 31 to 89, got out here, and now I'm back in at 71. And I'll buy more at 60 if we get there to ride it to 239 and hope. And then Shopify said, we should be getting this bounce. I think it will fail only because we have a gap, this large gap that needs to fill. And then also this is so extended. This typically means it will have a failed rally. So I'm looking for something like that in Shopify, but we should bounce. And I don't like trade desk at the moment. I think it can be very dangerous. I could have it in this flat correction, A, B, and we could be going down in a C-leg decline. I'd be really careful in it unless we can take this high back out at 93 to negate this. This is a very bearish pattern. We never got capitulation in this with bottom really not a clean bottom at all. So it does show like it's vulnerable to a capitulation type waterfall sell-off at some point. And just kind of scanning through things to see some of these, Palantir finding support in our flat target area. Again, this could bounce and fail again, but it's finding support here. DraftKings have pulled back, and I believe that was maybe a good buy for this breakout, and 3 coming up. And again, this could be a wave 4 bottom here. Unity is kind of struggling. It did wick. We'll see if we get this bounce. It could bounce and fail. Again, if you notice the theme bounce and fail, that's kind of what a lot of what I'm seeing at the market. IONMQ. So a very interesting chart. I'm looking for this again bounce and failure to 10 for a great entry, but the problem I have here with it is even though this looks like 3 waves, if you downgrade it to a lower time frame, it's 5 off the low. So this area could see support, and we could see a swing up again and then fail. So this could be playing a game with traders, something like that, and then we really won't go much lower than 14, and it'll just kind of whipsaw traders around, like that. So I'm looking for something like that. So if we can get this, I will definitely dump that and then try to pick that up on the C leg. I don't think this will take us to new highs, but I think you got to be careful for this kind of whipsaw price action coming up. Sound's been in our buy area, kind of hanging around, and now it's breaking out. So again, see, this is why you have to be patient in these buy areas. Sometimes it takes time to play out, but then it eventually turns. The news SYM with the breakdown. I don't like trading it. This could be 5 down, a bounce, and a failure. We may need to redo the connector. I'm waiting for GoPro to get out of this wedge, guys. Once we can get out of this wedge, we can see some massive upside in GoPro, this wedge. If we can get out of this wedge, we could really get some upside. We could see a quick price action at $10. So just keep an eye on that. But as long as we're in the wedge, again, you could still get rejected. And so you're going to have to be patient with it. And QSI, so QSI, for those that are in that, looks like it's an impulse down. We need that 5th wave. The ideal entry is at 190, $1.90, and I think that would end A. We'll get some kind of B and then a C. Is there a chance that this is a finished correction? There's always that possibility because it's so steep and so intense. So I'll be re-entering QSI in this area. If we can get that down in here, I would re-enter it after my trade on that was in around 180, and I got out around 2 something here, like 283 around this area, and then I'll get back in, and then we'll ride it. So we'll trade around this. Eventually, it will take this high out, but I think it's going to need to calm down for a while before we get to see that that high taken out. But it's probably a good trade in stock. And then the green stocks, you know, I just don't like where their prices are. I want to see them go lower. I just need to see them go lower for solar and phase. I'm just not ready to pull the trigger on any of those. Okay, that's all I got today, guys. So I would say the market should bounce. We should continue to see a bounce, and then that bounce has a high likelihood of failing, and then we could get a more longer term rally, relief rally to the final peak. Is this failure guaranteed? No. So if you're hoping I'll just get in here, or I'm gonna just start shorting that, you're not doing it right. Because right now you have 3 waves. You should just buy it here and hold it, and then let the market stop you out at the stop at 364. And if you keeps going, great, you're long. And if you fail, you stop out, and then you just buy it again later, and you try it again. All right, that's all I got, guys. Talk to you later.